Welcome back to Casey Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit and digital resource. We'll tell your story to our community. I'm Ruth Bombigas. We've got Bobby behind camera and doing sound. We're at the beautiful museum at Prairie Fire, and we're in the midst of a celebrity. We have Jacob Esparza-Hoskins, who is the cover of the calendar put out by the Kansas Firefighters Alliance. Jacob. Wow. Pretty cool. And with Jacob is Nancy Peters, who is the president of the organization.
Well, thank you for having us.
You betcha. So Jacob, now that Jacob is blushing and he's about, 3 shades of pink. Jacob, tell us about the calendar and how you were chosen for the cover.
Well, it's just a bigger organization than I want to be a part of something bigger than just a firefighter, career firefighter. I want to do something more for the community than apparently what we do. But I've saw it before, and just every day at work, we have physical fitness training, things like that. And I met Nancy, and we just seen the calendar, and I was just like, wow, this would be something cool to do, and it benefits a lot of different charities that we do, all nonprofit organization. And
you got to be the guy on the cover.
I did not know that was gonna. I did not know that was gonna happen.
I
was very shocked.
Yeah.
I was so
what was it like the first time you saw it?
I was in awe. I was like, wow, I actually made
I
the
look
front.
pretty good. I look pretty good.
good.
And you have a cute furry friend there too as well.
Yeah, Schwinn. He was a little rascal to deal with on set. It was quite the photo shoot.
He was a bit of a diva on the photo shoot.
Yeah.
Well, this is all part of your overall work with the Firefighters Alliance. Tell us a little bit of the work that you are doing.
So, last time we came, we were telling you about how we've always done, for the last over 10 years, we did Coats for Kids. And anytime, whether there's emergency responders or teachers or anyone that sees kids in needs, or if there's a house fire and the family needs winter wear, we'll take care of the families. And then we put on a fire camp every year that any kid can attend. It's targets 6th through 9th grade kids, but it connects them also with the colleges, so it's not just a one-day camp, but we're helping them connect the dots in the careers of emergency services.
Now, where do you run the camp? In Wichita?
The camp is done in Wichita, and we've actually been talking about moving the camp around and doing it in different locations, like in the Kansas City area. We've had some interest in having it expand and grow, because we did it for a few years trying to see how it would go, and the kids love it. It's been neat to see. Many of these kids have gone on to be firefighters across Kansas and even in other states. So to watch their journeys is incredible for us.
Tell us a little bit about the history of your organization.
So a lot of the work started with the Kansas Firefighters Museum, and
which is where?
That is actually the official Kansas Firefighter Museum that represents the state is actually in Wichita, Kansas. And a lot of people don't know that the state memorial is there also. And so we do the annual Fallen Firefighters Memorial there. There's a wall that has all of the names of fallen firefighters in our state. And it's just a great group. And as we started growing, one of the things we started, I really wanted to take it a step further in the mission to also, as we were looking for firefighters, we wanted Kansas to be different than everybody else, promoting health and fitness, but also looking at mind, body, and soul. In other words, their character, what they do in their community, what can we do in our state. And the things that we saw were a big need was in our state, a lot of departments can't afford the decontamination wipes that help prevent cancer, and cancer's on the rise in emergency responders. And the other thing was, how could we fight suicide? And so we actually are taking a different approach at that, because suicide is up 400% in emergency responders also. And it's something you don't really see it on the news. It's something that's not talked about. And so we thought, what can we do to make changes and stop those numbers? And because those will be the names that you will not see on the wall, because suicide is not considered
dying in the line of duty.
If you have PTSD, it's still something that it's just Kansas is learning along the way, and there's a long way to go. So we bring in a national instructor. He was actually one of our very first calendar firefighters. He was from Colorado, but he also served in Kansas.
Oh, so he qualified.
He qualified, actually. At one point, he was on 2 different departments, one in each state. But he had started some programs, and I had actually lost. When I was a child, I had a division chief in Sedgwick County who was like a dad to me, and he died of cancer. But really, what was never discussed openly until just this year was that he also shot himself. And so those are the things that our emergency responders are trained to be strong, but they silently sometimes suffer from those difficult calls, and you never know when a call is going to bother you. It might be 20 years later, it might be, a month later. But so we're trying to provide resources. We bring in our national instructor to work with not just the emergency responders, but also the families of emergency responders.
Is this now still primarily in the firefighter realm, or have you brought in other first responders?
We actually will, what we do behind the scenes is we actually invite EMS, fire, police, and police they have a very established program. We're really impressed and just in awe of what they're doing with police officers and with law enforcement. But we still will invite them anytime, whatever town we go to, and we encourage the department that they just host a location, but then we bring in the speaker, we pay for the cost of all of that. And we also include dispatchers, and that's a group that gets missed a lot. So we're trying to really reach out and provide services for them also.
That's got to be a really stressful job and very difficult. And
Yeah.
watching 911 on TV, if anybody watches that program, not to plug them, but they show that. They have a main character. Jacob, you have a legacy in the firefighting business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, that'd be my grandfather, Michael Esparza. So I was told from a captain when I first got on, he's like, "You look so familiar." I was like, "Oh, really? How? I don't know any resemblance." And he's just like, "Is your grandpa Michael?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "What?" And he's like, it's kind of surprised to see me. And he was like, "Is that your father or anything?" I was like, "No, it's my grandpa." And he said, "Well, he was one of the first Hispanic paramedics in the Kansas City area." And I was like, "Oh, wow. Did you follow in his footsteps?" I was like, "No, I'm just EMT." But I did. My grandpa was a big inspiration for why I wanted to be a firefighter, and just knowing the things he did and things he was able to accomplish, I was like, I'd love to do that for me and do the same for my family, and just leave a legacy behind. Just keep it growing. It's firefighters in your blood, so.
Thank you for serving. Can you share with us a little bit what's your training like? I think people are always kind of mystified.
Which type of training? The fire training?
Well, both, since you have both.
So training on a firehouse, usually nobody wants to do it. That's the honest truth. But it's like some of those things where if you train on it, you work on it, you have it ready at your disposal. So working out, training in the firehouse, we do drills as ladder work. We'll go out, take the fire truck out, we'll climb the ladder, raise it to the 105 feet, 90-degree angle, climb it full gear, go back down, climb it full gear, things like that nature, just because if you're ready for the hardest, it'll be easy when it's not that hard. We'll do other scenarios where we'll put full gear on, bunker pants, SCBA masks, and go full tilt. In the firehouse, we'll turn off all the lights and put masks over our masks, like a ski mask or something to cover it, and go search and find a victim, things of that nature. Yeah, that's that part of the fire training. There's a lot more to it too.
Sure.
We cut up cars here and there. Sometimes when we get extra vehicles that have just been destroyed at the local rail yards, they'll let us go and cut cars up and practice things like that.
So that when you're out there,
it's secondhand nature.
You know how to do it.
Absolutely. But physical training side,
they just have to look at the calendars. All they have to do to figure out that gets done, and all the representatives. And Nancy, I have to tell you, I'm thrilled that it is not just men
Exactly.
on the calendar. So you've got 12 months, and
we have 3 females
Three
this year.
females.
I'm super excited about them. They are just great gals. One of them is actually both a police officer and a firefighter, and but they're all great firefighters and emergency responders. And the team every year, the team is wonderful. And once once a firefighter makes the calendar, you're basically on for life. It's just a partnership, and you become family. And it's neat to see the bonds. It's kind of rebuilding that brotherhood and sisterhood but this time across the state.
So they're from all over the place.
Yep.
We're lucky we have the cover boy, cover man.
That's exciting.
Where can these be purchased? And tell us then how those funds get used.
So they can be purchased online at Kansas Firefighters Alliance.org, and they could just do an online purchase. 100% of the funds goes to what we do, whether we are helping behind the scenes with police, fire, and EMS in their time of need, or whether we're doing the assisting with coats for kids or buying decontamination wipes. I had a call from McPherson, Kansas today, and they're needing decon wipes, and we don't charge them. I've had fire chiefs come up to me at times at conferences say, so what's the catch? And we're excited to say there's no catch. We just want to do something good, not just in our communities, but across our state, and make some positive changes for Kansas.
How many of these will you sell? Do you have any idea? I mean, based on previous years?
We never know. We hope to sell all of them. We order a limited amount because we are a small nonprofit. We don't have marketing dollars, and we really
but you don't need marketing dollars.
Yeah,
you need to share how you've been out marketing.
Well, we'll do signing events. We actually did our debut at the Holiday Boutique here in Kansas City, and it was just a blast that everyone welcomed us. It was just exciting.
And tell them why.
Well, we had a few people ask if the firefighters a couple of them might take off their shirts, and all of a sudden we had a crowd.
Yes, you did.
So it was pretty
And it was
funny.
I will have to clarify, it was the male firefighters
just the
that took
males.
off their shirts.
Yeah.
You have another appeal, though, this year.
Yes.
You have added some puppies, dogs.
Hands of Hope Rescue. We've actually partnered with them in the last few years. These are Hands of Hope Rescue. They rescue in our region, but they also, so it's not just Kansas, but in our region, they've helped, their volunteers have gone to help with the hurricane damaged states, and they do an incredible work. What's been neat about the partnership with them is that some of our firefighters have gone on to be their fosters, have gone on to adopt some of these animals. And it's just been really kind of a great partnership with them. They've just been fantastic, and Jacob is going to find out soon. He's going to do a little doggy modeling with the dogs here in February in Wichita at the Women's Fair. So, but that's a fun day too, because they get to reunite with some of their dogs, and it's exciting to see them as they progress and have new homes and have their forever homes. But we do a little show with them.
What other things do you do to try to get support? I would think that decontamination wipes are expensive.
Yeah, they are. We buy them and the thing is right now, in fact, the fire department that called me today, they go, we're having a lot of fires. Our area is getting hit hard, and we're going through them fast. So they're needing we want to restock the departments. So all they have to do is go online, and we will ship it. We cover the shipments, and also if there's a department or a community that says we want you to bring in the national instructor to help us out and help our families, whether it's through a death or whether it's through just training them how to deal and recognize signs of PTSD or any types of suicide prevention. Because a lot of times the signs don't show up at work because you're in a hypervigilant state of serving and doing your best, but those signs show up at home. And so we want to kind of help the families learn how to identify that too, and help to be a good support for their emergency responder, whether police, fire, EMS, or dispatcher.
What kind of support have you seen, Jacob, in your own department? Do they do programming, et cetera, to make sure that mind, body, and soul is kind of all together for you?
Yes, absolutely. In the fire service, I'm going to be quite honest, it's more of like a macho type thing. Oh, you need to deal with it. But really having those peer support groups and those outlets, they absolutely do help, especially in this day and age. Just having that support and someone to talk to, it actually does help. I've been through situations already. I'm not going to say I'm a seasoned vet yet, but 3 years on, I've seen a lot of stuff. And having our peer support group there, having that person to talk to, it does help. It does really put your mind at ease, and seeing things that not a lot of people see at 20, 21 years old.
Or ever.
Yeah. It does take a toll on you, but just knowing that you're doing something great for the greater good of humanity and the greater good of your community. It just that's what keeps me going. That's what hopefully keeps everybody else going in the service industry.
Wow.
And talking to his chiefs, they've got Kansas City is one of the cities that has a very well-established peer support program, but there's a lot of towns in Kansas that don't. I mean, Kansas is 80% volunteer. A lot of times people don't realize that. They just see Kansas City or a big city
Right.
like Wichita, but there's so many towns that don't have those established programs in their areas, and so we try to provide that support with them. And then if departments like Kansas City or Wichita or actually any department reaches out to us and says, hey, we want to host one, can you help us walk through? And the difference is that typically the bigger departments provide something for the firefighters. Now it's just trying to make that change to where they're including family members. And so that's what we do, and we cover the cost to bring those classes to them.
Well, it's the Kansas Firefighters Alliance.org. Calendar is there. You can see Jacob. But even more important, you can support Jacob and his fellow firefighters and first responders.
Yeah.
Get support, decontamination wipes, and peer support and suicide, hopefully prevention, and help everybody. You're doing great work.
Trying to do some good things. And if anyone ever wants us to come out and do a signing event, we'll travel. I mean, we all volunteer our time.
They do travel. This is Wichita today, so we're so grateful.
So we'll go anywhere and do a signing event. If somebody has some little event that they want to have our team at, it's a lot of fun.
Thanks, both of you.
Thank
Absolutely.
you for having
Thank
us.
you.